In turquoise waters of the Indian Ocean lies an island of legends, Zanzibar, a place of spice, song, and soul, where centuries of Arab sultans ruled over African subjects and the sense of clothes mingled with the memory of chains. But in January 1964, for one night, history turned on the edge because Zanzibar, yes, Zanzibar almost became Kenyan territory. This is the story of that incredible moment when a Ugandan revolutionary made a desperate call to Nairobi. And when Jomo Kenyatta's side changed the fate of East Africa forever. For centuries, Zanzibar was the jewel of the Swahili coast. Arab traders from Oman had sailed across the sea indoors, their Latin sails glowing like ghosts in the moonlight. They conquered the island, built Stone Town, the Zanzibar capital, and ruled through Sultan of Oman, later the Sultan of Zanzibar. The Arabs owned the spice plantations. The local Africans, many descended from the mainland, toiled on the clothes fields. They had no say in their government. Resentment simmered behind the ornate curved doors and coral walls. When Britain ended its protectorate in December 1963, Sultan Jamshid bin Abdallah became monarch of a fragile, divided kingdom. But in the shadows, anger was gathering force. Before dawn, on January 12, 1964, a man named John Okello, a house painter from Uganda, led an army of African revolutionaries into the streets. He had been training these locals secretly in the bushes. Okello had drifted through Uganda, Kenya, and Zanzibar. He was poor, erratic, but fiercely charismatic. Now, he called himself Field Marshal. His men stormed police stations, took over the radio station, and by morning had seized the entire island. Then came his voice trembling with zeal, broadcast to the world. And I quote, "The Sultan must kill himself or leave the island. The people are now free." Panic gripped Stone Town. The Sultan fled his palace, escaping by motor launch to Mombasa. From there, the British officials arranged his flight to London, exiled for life. Now, Zanzibar had fallen in a single night. And that is when the phone rang in Nairobi. From the captured radio stations, John Okello called. The message was urgent. He spoke to the intermediaries, then to security officials. His message was stunning. Take over Kenya. Help us bring order. Let Zanzibar join Kenya. Okello had seen the chaos, looting, reprisals, foreign ships moving nearby. He trusted Kenya more than Tanganyika. To him, Jomo Kenyatta was the father of African independence, a man who could steady the storm. Within hours, Kenya's National Security Council convened an emergency meeting. The atmosphere in Nairobi was electric. Top generals, intelligence heads, and cabinet members huddled around the table. Could Kenya really step in? A plan took shape. A small contingent of Kenyan troops would cross to Zanzibar, secure Stone Town, and restore order. The Kenya Air Force offered air support, reconnaissance flights, logistical backup, even possibility of airlifting supplies. It was bold, daring, as it was dangerous. Zanzibar was in revolution. Tanganyika was watching, and the Cold War powers were circling. Still, the council approved the draft plan. All that remained was the president's word. That evening, Dr. Njoroge Mungai, the Minister of Defense and Kenyatta's cousin, drove to Gatundu carrying the top secret brief. He was ushered into Kenyatta's sitting room. Kenyatta listened in silence as Mungai explained the plan. The possibility of annexing Zanzibar, stabilizing it under Kenya's flag, and preventing foreign intervention. The president's expression didn't change. He leaned back in his chair and just watched the man who was talking to him. When Mungai finished, silence began. The atmosphere was awkward. To break it, gently Mungai excused himself. He said he would return in the morning for the president's response. But when he arrived the next day, Kenyatta was gone. He had left Gatundu for other national duties. No explanation. Mungai understood. The silence was his answer. Kenya would not move. Historians have debated the decision for decades. Why did Kenyatta hesitate? Some say he feared confrontation with Julius Nyerere, the leader of Tanganyika, who was already negotiating union with Zanzibar's new president, Abeid Karume. If Kenya intervened, it would have sparked a regional crisis, perhaps even war. Others believe that Kenyatta wanted no part in Okello's revolution. Okello's forces were undisciplined. His ideology was unclear. His methods brutal. And behind it all, there was the quiet pressure of Britain and the United States, urging caution in a region already trembling with Cold War rivalries. Whatever the reason, Kenyatta's silence held firm. 3 months later, on April 26, 1894, Zanzibar merged with Tanganyika to form the United Republic of Tanzania. Abeid Karume became vice president under Julius Nyerere. Zanzibar's fiery independence was folded into the calm, structured vision of Ujamaa socialism. And John Okello, the man who had triggered it all, he was quietly pushed aside, declared unstable and unfit. He was denied re-entry into Zanzibar after a trip abroad. Dejected, he returned to Uganda, forgotten, isolated. For a while, he was seen in the company of Idi Amin, another soldier who soon would shake East Africa. Then he vanished. His body was never found. The man who called Nairobi with a dream and disappeared into the fog of history. Imagine if Kenyatta had said yes. Kenya stretching across the Indian Ocean, Mombasa to Pemba to Sultan in Zanzibar. A maritime nation commanding trade, tourism, the sea lanes of Africa's coasts. Perhaps too, a nation entangled in endless conflict. A revolution inherited, not owned. A war with Tanganyika. A target in the Cold War. Maybe Kenyatta in that quiet room in Gatundu, so too far ahead and chose peace over glory. History turns not only on words spoken, but also on silences kept. One night, a revolutionary called Nairobi and offered an island. The one man, Jomo Kenyatta, answered silence. Zanzibar went on to become part of Tanzania. Kenya stayed its course on the mainland, and the waters between them still whisper the story of what almost was. This was when Zanzibar almost became Kenya. I am your narrator, Eric, reminding you that history is never just about what happened, but also what might have been. For more stories like this, keep